am I a Democrat? Because I represent working families, and I have always thought it's important, those that are more, that have the means, they can influence people, but I believe there has to be a voice for the working person. My mom and dad were working people. I come out of the unions myself. I was a union president for ASME. I know how important it is for working people to have a voice, and I represent the working people of Ashtabula County.
How long have you been county commissioner?
I'm going to be finishing up my second term as county commissioner, so 8 years. I was appointed earlier on, but this is my second elected term.
What are you most proud of accomplishing?
I think the economic development movement in the county, that's one of the things that I'm really proud of. I'm really proud to carry on the services for the senior levy and the senior citizens, and we have worked hard and we have been able to expand those. And the other thing is protecting the county, investing in our sheriff's department, investing in our safety services. That's always been something that's really close to me.
What are the major issues you feel are facing the county?
Probably the drug problem is one of the largest issues that are facing our county. It reaches out and it touches about everything that goes on in our county, and we have to find a way to get our arms around that and deal with that problem.
Do you have any programs or ideas in mind to do that?
There's a lot of things going on in Ashtabula County right now. Our Mental Health and Recovery Board, we have Signature Health, we have Glen Bay. We have a number of different agencies that are working on that problem. It's just such an enormous problem, and it's just not a problem in Ashtabula County. It's a problem nationwide, and it's a problem that the nation really has to talk about, and they have to look at it differently than what they ever had to on any other criminal problem that we've had.
Do you have any particular ideas on how to curb the problem or address it?
Well, I do. I think that in a lot of cases, it's a problem that's being created by people that are above us. In the prescription industry, I think the federal government and I think the medical industry has to get more restrictive in some of the opiates that they're actually prescribing. They're the ones that are actually prescribing these drugs. People are getting hooked on these drugs, and then what they're doing is then when they can't get the legal drugs, they're looking at illicit drugs. I think we have to educate our people. That's probably one of the biggest things that we need to do is educate our people on the problem, and especially in our grade schools, in our middle schools, and our high schools. We have to start spending a lot more time educating our kids as to the effects of this drug problem and how it's going to affect them the rest of their life.
Is funding an issue in dealing with this problem?
It always is, and because this problem is so enormous, it's reaching out to our safety forces, it's reaching out to our courts, it's reaching out to our social services, it's touching everything. It's touching our job training programs, because one of the things that we have a hard time doing is finding people that are drug-free that are unemployed. And in most cases, that if you're running equipment, or different things like that, you need to be drug-free to be able to do that.
Can you think of any specific programs that the county's involved with itself that might be addressing the problem either in the schools or other areas trying to get to the problem at the core?
Probably one of the most successful things that we're doing right now, as far as the county is concerned, and not that some of these other agencies aren't doing, is our drug court. Our drug court deals with these people individually. They deal with them and they try and deal with their problems, and they try to get them help with all their problems. They work with them in getting drug, as far as workforce training. There's a number of different agencies. So when these people get done with this drug court program, they're then, their charges are then dismissed, and they're allowed to go on and conduct a productive life. Because what usually happens when a person's arrested and they're put into jail and they're put into the system was never built to deal with people like this. And one of the things coming out of law enforcement, I always thought that these people needed to go to jail. And the people that we're dealing with today don't need to go to jail. And once you put them in jail, then their whole life changes and opportunities for them shrink dramatically. So I think the drug court is a very positive program that the county is doing. And I'm very proud of all the people that work inside that program, because it does give these people a second chance.
On the job front, what is being done to bring jobs to the county?
We work every day in bringing jobs to the county. Everybody would like to see the BMW get here, and that's just, that's just not going to happen right away because everybody wants that BMW. And so what we've done is we've actually tried to diversify. And some of the things that we're doing is the smaller entrepreneur things. You see the wineries, you see the other businesses connected to that. I'm pretty proud of the fact that, we were able to invest in Bridge Street and in their plan, and look at what it's done. We were able to invest in Geneva City, in its downtown, and look what it's done. It's really grown. So our 503, or our revolving loan fund, has over $4 million loaned out to local businesses, helping them start up, helping them continue, and create jobs in the county. So I think by looking at these smaller entrepreneurs, these new entrepreneurs, I think that's something that's going to sustain us in the future. I think the county has we have started with Alaterra, the miscanthus grass company, and we've been able to grow that from nothing more than an idea to 55 full-time jobs in Ashtabula County. And I think that's important for us because we're diversifying out of some of the mainstream manufacturing that we're used to seeing in our county. And usually what happens is most of our manufacturing, or a lot of our manufacturing, is connected to the auto industry. So when the auto industry slumps, then we slump. If we can diversify out like we have and invest in companies like miscanthus grass, that's something that isn't connected to the auto industry, and it's something that we can be really good at because we have farmland, we have open farmland, and some of the products that they're developing and some of the products that they're actually making today are just used every day.
Do you see any ways to improve the job market and the quality of the job workforce?
We do, and that is by job training. And there's been several things that the county commissioners have done to improve that front. First of all, we created a business service representative. And what that person does is communicate with our local businesses because we believe it is just as important to retain and to help our businesses grow in the county as it is to bring new businesses here. So our business service representative goes out and they meet with company officials, they find out what they need, and then we try and connect them with the services that are available. Job training, we have brought in over $1 million in job training money for Ashtabula County to train individuals for today's jobs. That is really the critical thing. Technology has changed everything in the job market. So people need to get skills. They have to have skills to work in a job that pays any amount of money where a family can live on that. And so we're helping them do that. And we've done that by creating the program at ATEC, such as Impact. And that's an industrial maintenance program, as our local manufacturers could not find maintenance people. So we worked with them. They worked with ATEC. We were able to create a curriculum for local maintenance people. And our companies are supporting that, and we are able then to take people and train them for the market today and for that job that is a good family-paying job out there. So we have done a number of things to try and help our people get ahead and move ahead and get the skills necessary to work in today's market.
Do you have any figures or how many people have benefited from these programs?
I don't have figures as far as the individual people, but I do know that our unemployment rate at one time was over 14%, and it is just over 5% now. Probably the lowest it's been since I've been a county commissioner. And if you compare that to Trumbull County or Columbiana County or even Cuyahoga County, our unemployment numbers are less. Sure, I'm really proud of the success of the Geneva Lodge and where it's at today. As you know, the Geneva Lodge was built before I was a county commissioner. But we have been able to take that lodge and stabilize it. The lodge produces a lot of positive benefits for the county. We have done marketing studies that say that the lodge brings $6 to $8 million a year into the county. It has a gross revenue of over $6 million, a payroll of over $4 million, and it has 80-some people in the county that work there. We've now taken it and we've expanded that with a private investment into the property from an international company who's brought $3.5 million worth of investment to the county. And again, it brings more people to the county. You know, for the month of July of 2016, both the lodge and the cottages were 95% booked. So I believe that the lodge is doing everything that it was supposed to do as far as an economic development tool. And I think that all you have to do is look at Geneva on the Lake, look at the wine industry, look at the city of Geneva, look at Bridge Street, and you can see the economic effects of the lodge.
I guess sort of a follow-up question. How are things going for the South County?
I think that the South County is well in itself. You know, there's a diamond down in the south portion of the county that I think everybody forgets about, and that's Pymantooming Lake. Pymantooming Lake is a draw of itself. You have to remember, on any holiday weekend, there are more people that come to the Pymantooming area that actually live in our county. So I think that Pymantooming does those things of itself, and we work with that area to ensure that they're getting the same benefits that those people in the north are.
I understand you're putting in a new dispatch system for the county that should aid in emergency response. Can you speak a little bit about that?
I can, because that's one of the investments that we like to make. And one of the things that we're trying to do is tie the county safety forces together. And so this is more than just building a center. This is about connecting law enforcement, fire, and ambulance together so they can communicate. And we've spent the last 18 months, 12 to 18 months, building a computer-aided dispatch system, which puts computers in cars and ties all the computers into one computer in Jefferson. And that allows those officers then to talk and see what's going on in the county. They can see other calls going on in different communities in real time. They're able to communicate car to car with one another. So that's a huge step forward. Our next step will be to consolidate our 911 system from going to 6 PSAPs to 1 PSAP. And that will all be part of this centralization process. And the final thing will be then to build a building that will house all of this together.
Now, does that involve purchasing property?
It does not. It does not. Mrs. Carlo, who's been spearheading the project for us, has been working with ATEC, and we believe that there's an opportunity to work with ATEC to be able to build the building on property that they control or they own, and then we're going to team with them for training programs and different things that will benefit both ATEC and the public safety forces. So we think it's a win-win for both.
Now, your opponent has stated that there may be possibility of existing buildings that could be used instead of building a new one. You care to address that issue?
Sure. You can always look at older buildings, but that's exactly what they are, is they're older buildings. Most of the time, in any of the buildings that I'm aware of, they were built years ago. Well, years ago, computers weren't made. Electronics weren't made. This will be probably one of the most technologically advanced buildings there are in the county with electronics. These buildings aren't set up for that. So it would cost you more to try to renovate an old building into a new building than it would just to actually build a new building. So yeah, there's always that argument. It's like taking an old school and making it a new school. It's just with all the things that are necessary for 2016, a building that was built back in the 1950s or 60s is just not compatible with today's technology.
Do you see any solution in the future for the jail housing problem?
Well, there has to be an answer for the jail, and it's a complicated problem. And that's why we have asked and we have tasked this Community Corrections Board with the idea of giving us a comprehensive answer, because right now, most of the people coming in and out of our jail right now are dealing with some sort of drug problem. County jails were not set up to treat people or rehabilitate people. They are merely holding facilities. And the state has forced us in more than one case to take longer, more violent people and keep them in the county jail. And it's just creating overcrowding. So we've asked them to come up with a comprehensive answer. And I believe with this drug problem, there's no way that you're going to arrest your way out of this problem. So we're going to have to come up with different ways to deal with these sort of crimes, to keep these people in the mainstream so we don't have to keep them the rest of their lives.
Funding for that. Has the state mandates created a funding problem for you?
Yes, the state has created a number of funding problems for the local communities, not just our county, but the local townships, cities, and villages. and by removing a number of different taxes. Over $10 million has been removed from our county, from the schools, townships, villages, and cities, and have been transferred then to the state. They broke a deal that was made years ago, and they quit funding local programs, and it's forced local communities to raise taxes and to fund those necessary services. And the state just ignores the fact that the county governments, city governments, township governments are just keeping their head above water because of the money that they take. And yet they sit on a $2 billion surplus.
What does the county have in mind for Plant C?
I think our Port Authority has done a wonderful job in Plant C. They've rebuilt that pumping station, and by rebuilding that pumping station, and that's the value of Plant C, they have kept or retained over 800 jobs, 1,200 residual jobs by keeping that pumping station, and now they're in the process of applying for another grant to improve the infrastructure and keep that to maintain those 800 jobs that are there on site that depend on that water every single day.
Can the county commissioners have any influence on keeping the Coast Guard station here?
I have done everything. I have spearheaded that effort to keep our Coast Guard station here. As a past public safety official, I know how important it is for the Coast Guard to be here 12 months a year, not just part-time, because it's the times that they're not here is when we're really going to need them. And being a response from Erie or a response from Fairport to me is just a unreasonable response. It will take an hour to get a boat here, and I just think that cutting back on the hours of the Coast Guard is just a bad idea, and that's why I have worked and I have spearheaded the effort along with City Manager Jim Timonier to keep the Coast Guard here 12 months a year. And I'm just really sorry that our local congressman has chose to ignore the fact and has chose not to even meet with us on the subject.
Was John Patterson stepped up for you?
John Patterson has stepped up, but this is really not a state problem. He has used every power he has to influence those individuals to sit down and discuss with us. But again, I have reached out to our local federal officials, and so far they have ignored my request to sit down with the city managers, the safety officials, or myself, and just discuss the need to have a Coast Guard station here 12 months a year.
Have you had any luck at the Senate level?
We have. We have a federal senator that we are trying to pick a date, but he has agreed to meet with us. We are trying to find a date that is acceptable to him and to us. And we have offered different alternatives. We have offered to go to them. There was a meeting in Washington, and I don't know the results. There were a couple individuals went, but by the time we found out about the meeting, and it was just very short notice, and we couldn't get our group to go.
Now, is that a Coast Guard decision, Department of Defense decision?
It's a Congress decision.
Okay.
It's a Congress decision, and Congress can influence the outcome by funding.
At the national level, it's been a pretty contentious election. Are you happy with the Democrats' nominee?
I will support Hillary Clinton. I think that she will keep us safe. I believe that she'll keep the ship steady, and I think she has the most experience of either of the individuals that are running. So, yes, I will vote for Hillary Clinton.
Then at the congressional level, what are your feelings towards that race?
I think that the individual that gets the most votes is going to win. But, I would support, as I said, I just expressed my disappointment in our current congressman in refusing to sit down and even meet with the constituents over a very legitimate concern.
Why should the residents of Ashtabula County vote for Dan Claypool?
Well, I think that one of the most important reasons is Dan Claypool is full-time. Dan Claypool is there every day fighting for the people of Ashtabula County. I have never taken a second base. I have always led and spearheaded efforts that are important, whether it be the Coast Guard, whether it be opposing rate increases by the utilities. I have always been out front, and I have never been afraid to speak my mind or speak on behalf of the residents of Ashtabula County. And I think that's important. I think that Ashtabula County has full-time needs, and I think they deserve a commissioner that will be there every day fighting there for them.